watching us, hello. We're about to start sausage roll making. We've got Mum Karen behind the camera, and I've got Max with me because you love sausage rolls.
Yep.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Right, so I've not given you a temperature yet, and I know that's one of the first questions I get asked is what temperature should we put the oven on at? Now, I would advise, when you've made these, to chill them for 20 minutes or so. So preheat your oven whilst the sausage rolls are chilling. But if you go, no, Michelle, we want to bake them straight away, we can't wait, then you'll want to put your oven on at 200 degrees Celsius or 180 for fan or gas mark 6. But I'll repeat that at the end so that as they chill you can get your oven on. Right, so ingredients wise, we've got a few, and if you want to change this up, vegetarians, if you're using vegetarian sausage meat, that's fine. If you're using gluten-free flour, that should work. And I know that there's a couple of you that wanted to do cheese and onion sausage rolls, that's fine too. You make this your own. So I will go through some basics, but if you have any questions, then just ask and we'll get around to answering as many as we can. So, oven's not going to be on because basically when you do pastry, you need to keep it really cold. Mm-hmm. Ideally with a sausage roll, you'd put them in a puff pastry, or maybe, you do a puff pastry, but that takes a lot of time and it's quite technical. So what we do at Boozy Bakers is we either do something that's quick or we cheat. So this is a cheat one, Max.
Yep.
Yeah? So if you haven't met my son before, this is Max. And you like your sausage roll, so I've noticed you always join me when you enjoy eating it.
Especially Jeff cakes.
So, what was I going to say first?
Can I just butt in for a minute? Susie Grego says, hello Max. And
Hi.
Teeny says, hi Max, nice to see you again. And Mark Atkinson says, hi Max. Is this the Max show or what?
I know.
Yes, sorry, that's one of those people. And I did have a question, but it's disappeared.
Okay,
sorry.
Don't worry.
Ask it again if I don't answer it.
Right, so to start off with,
Lorraine says hi Max.
we're going to get 375 grams of plain flour. Yeah, as I was saying, ideally you make a puff pastry, but that takes quite a long time. So we're making a rough pastry. What you want to do with that is keep it really quite cold. So to your 375 grams of plain flour, you need to add 225 grams of chilled butter. If you have particularly warm hands, you could always run them under a cold tap for a minute. But everything we're doing, I've got some chilled water to use later, but we're going to try and chill the pastry as we go as much as possible. And then for those of you that really want a good result, you can chill the whole sausage roll after and before baking. So that's how we're getting round the puff pastry required for a sausage roll. We're doing a rough pastry.
Ingrid says she's using a mushroom mince as her veggie base.
Oh, nice.
Lily says, does self-raising flour work?
So you're not looking for it to rise like you would with cakes and things like that. You can try it. Plain flour is ideal because there's no raising agent in it. But if self-raising is all you have, you might get a little bit of a different texture. But flour is flour. It should work.
And Lorraine says, hi Max.
Right. So, in the bowl, we've got 375 grams of plain flour and 225 grams of chilled butter. If you're using margarine, you might find you don't get quite the right texture. Butter is the best because when it chills, it goes more solid. So, Max, do you want to get your hands in this or do you want me to have my hands in this?
How much butter do we want?
So, it's 225 grams of chilled butter. And I've just broken it up into little blocks. Just to help, rather than having one lump of butter that I'm going to get all really messy with my hands, by putting them into little diced blocks, it means that I can just get the flour around them all and avoid getting too messy. And I know there are pastry kind of cutters and separators that you can use, and I'd really like one now, but you know what, most of us don't have one of those, or maybe I'm the odd one out. So fingers will work fine, just make sure they're washed before you put them into the bowl. But what you want to do is kind of squeeze the butter, keep it coated in the flour so you're not getting too greasy, but just kind of break it up and you just want to keep doing that, teasing it and pushing your fingers into the flour and butter to combine them until you get like a breadcrumb mix. It will look like the top of an apple crumble. How are we doing on the questions?
No questions. I think everybody's concentrating. Everyone's doing it. Well, their hands are too dirty to type.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah. We don't all have a mum behind the camera. We all have grandma, do we? These are going to be, we're going to season the pastry, but I'm not adding anything else. But what you could do if you wanted to is you could add some cheese. If you wanted a kind of cheesy sausage roll, you could do that, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be delicious.
You could even add some seeds if you wanted to, like Nigella seeds and things, that make it a bit your own. You could put some curry in if you wanted a bit of a curried sausage roll. Oh, it's a bit of a workout. I'm going to have to stand up because it's actually the wrong angle, and I feel a bit like that magician.
Tommy Cooper, just like that.
That's better.
Do you have to raise it up so you can get air in?
Well, you can. To be honest, I just focus on getting the butter and the flour combined. It doesn't matter if you have some lumps into it because it melts the fat and it kind of creates air pockets as you bake it. But you want it to be more or less looking at like you've just blitzed a loaf of bread and it's sitting in your bowl. I don't know why you do that, but you might.
If you want to.
Right, I'll show you how this looks in just a second. Hang on. Right, you know what, I'm going to get my hands dirty again, so I'll just, if I bring it up to the camera, can they see that?
Yes, they can.
And then you can see it's quite crumbly still, but if I ball it up, you can see it kind of holds its shape, but a little bit, and it will crumble again. So that's the kind of consistency we're looking for. So if you wanted to, you could put all your might and you'd have these lumps of pastry, but just a little bit of pressure and they'll crumble.
Well, Nikki's wanting a bit more time, I think, because the children are rubbing in together, so it might take a while.
That's fine, no problem at all.
Don't know how many children we've got. We've had a few mentioned.
We did a business bake-off last night. And it was lovely. It was, I can't actually say who it was because they're off social media, but they did a real family one and they had, I don't know how many families, probably about 40 families or something taking part. And it was lovely with all the kids baking at the same time as the adults, and the ones with the little children maybe took a bit longer than the ones with the grown-up children, but it was so nice to see.
Daniel's just added cheese. Ooh. He actually put ooh.
Ooh.
I can do sound effects as well.
Yeah, you can. You can make these. I mean, I'll finish the sentence in a minute. So I've added something to my sausage rolls because I made them. I always make things in advance of the workshop just to see how long it takes and kind of cut it down a bit for you guys. And the first ones I made, because you were my chief tester, weren't you?
Yeah.
The first ones were quite nice, but I was like, there's something missing. So I didn't tell you what I added, and then I added some, and then to try those sausage rolls, and you really liked them, didn't you?
Yeah.
And that was some mustard. And now you could add that to the actual pastry, but I liked a thin amount over the pastry. So I'm not going to put mine in it, but you could if you preferred. But I just like that you can make this your own a bit. So cheese is a great addition.
Can you add cheese to the sausage meat?
Yes, you can.
Could you add chilli?
Yes. You can add anything. Well, I say anything. I mean, don't add anything. But if you with the sausage meat, I've gone for quite a plain mixture. But if you wanted to, you could saute some mushrooms, a few onions. I know, but you could, Max, and add it to your sausage meat. I mean, you could do a whole haggis if you wanted to and put it inside.
Wow, now you're talking.
Yeah.
Oh.
Lily says, have you seasoned yet?
No, I haven't. I've just done the plain flour and the butter, but I am going to season now. So, I've brought the wrong salt actually. Max, could you go and get me the other salt? Thank you. This is great for the sausage meat, but I kind of want to half a teaspoon of salt into the pastry. Thanks, Max. Just that's fine. I've got teaspoons. Thank you very much.
Right, got loads and loads of thumbs up, so I think everybody
Brilliant.
is about the same stage as us. There might be somebody with the
Excellent.
children still rubbing in somewhere. I'm adding Cornish hog's pudding spices, freshly pestled.
Oh,
Get you.
we do need to see photos of
We
all
do.
these bakes because they're sounding rather delicious
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
So I put half a teaspoon of salt and I'm just going to grind some pepper in there.
I'm just making a note of this Cornish hog pudding spices. I've not heard of that before.
Oh, we need to do a bit of research on that, hey?
Yeah, making a note.
So just stir that in.
Julie's adding black pudding.
Very nice, like that.
Oh, Branston pickle in your sausage meat.
Very nice. Excellent. Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing all these different ones. Right, so I've just mixed that in. Now, to that, we're going to add 2 egg yolks. So not the whites, just the yolks. So Mum's obviously very upset that she's not part of this bit because she loves cracking an egg. Max, do you feel confident? Yeah?
Yep.
So what you want to do is crack the egg, but only put the egg white in and the yolk needs to go in the bowl. So go the other way, upside down. Oh, turn it, because otherwise your yolk's going to, that's it, well done. You want to keep your yolk in the shell.
This is disgusting.
You're not a big fan of getting your hands mucky, are you, sometimes?
Not.
Okay, so what you want to do is, using the other shell, try and move the yolk into the other side without splitting it. What? Yeah, it's like juggling. That's it. And then the egg white is all going into the bowl because we don't need that bit. Oh, you've done brilliantly. Do you want me to take over?
Yeah.
Actually, it's really... there we go. Let's go to the other side. So all we're doing is just juggling the egg white out so we only use the egg yolk.
Emily said, how much pepper did you use?
I just did a few grinds of some pepper, just season as you like. So if you like something particularly peppery, you can add more.
And Mark said, what did you add to the flour and the butter?
Just a bit of salt and pepper. Half a teaspoon of salt and a few grinds of pepper. And at the moment, I'm just adding 2 egg yolks to the mix. I've got one here, sweetheart. Do you want to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, you do it. So just be careful that the yolk doesn't go into the little bowl now. So turn it the other way. So that's it. You don't want to... Oh, that's all right. Don't worry. No. We'll get a spoon on that, I think, might be the easiest thing. And we'll try to get it out because the yolk's gone in whole. So we'll try and get it out. Bear with me. Soup spoon at the ready. And we'll just... There we go, look. Just lift that yolk out. And just... I'm just tilting the spoon so all I've got is the egg yolk on the spoon and all the egg whites in. Perfect, see?
Wow.
No problem. Now that egg white you could obviously use for other purposes, that's going to be used for later. So the egg white, I actually need to do some icing later, so I'm going to use it for that. You could also use it for meringues, couldn't you? So I'm going to put those to one side for now. Now, you will also need some cold water to make this into a dough, but every flour is different levels of absorbency. So I've said 4 to 5 tablespoons of cold water. I would do it gradually. Don't put it all in at once because you don't want a sticky dough. You want something that's quite firm. So I'm going to put in 2, and then I'm going to start stirring it together and then add as I need.
I think Sarah's making Jaffa cakes.
Oh, right.
Maybe she's on the wrong video.
There we go. So I've just got 2 in there. And then I'm just going to mix all that together into a pastry. There we go. What was I going to say? The other egg is for the wash. So you're thinking, hang on a minute, I'm sure she said another egg. We said 2 yolks plus another egg that you'll need for the wash. You don't have to. Someone did spot on my photo and said, excuse me, it might be a very tasty sausage roll, but that does not have an egg wash on top. And I said, you're absolutely right, I completely forgot. So you don't have to put an egg wash on, but they do look good with it on.
She was using the egg white for her Jaffa cakes.
Oh, I see.
Sorry,
There
that
you
was
go.
me misunderstanding.
And that is coming together. If I show you, oh, there we go. Can you see that? But it is still quite floury at the bottom.
And Lily says, so in total 3 eggs for the whole recipe.
3 eggs for the whole recipe. You want 2 in the pastry and 1's going to be for the glaze.
And only 2 yolks, not 2 eggs.
No, 2 yolks, that's right.
And Nikki said, my 2 are using their hands to mix the dough now.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot of mess.
I think we need, Max, another tablespoon of water, but then that might be enough. Do you want to add it?
Oh, and Edwina's already got the meringues in the oven because she separated the eggs earlier.
Oh, well done. There we go. Well done. Yeah, I'm making some Easter cookies later. I've bought some new cutters that I want to try out. So I know it's a bit off, but I'm being organised. So I want to use the egg whites for my royal icing later. Right. That is feeling quite good. I'm looking at the bottom of the bowl to see if I can see any flour, and I think, Max, can you see any flour now?
No.
I think that's about come together, hasn't it?
Yep.
So, I'm just going to scrape the dough off the spoon, and I'm going to bring that into a ball. Now, do you want me to do this, or are you doing this? Either's from me, okay?
I don't like getting my hands in it.
I know, you're a bit funny. Sometimes you're great, but other times you don't like,
I don't like dough.
you don't like dough.
Like bread dough, cake dough.
Yeah, but if you look, I've not got too much on me. It's just making things the right consistency so they don't get too sticky. So I'm just bringing all that into a ball. There we go.
It's not as crumbly anymore now.
Of dough. So it's not been handled
Lily
too
says,
much.
is it supposed to be sticky?
So mine's not sticky. If it is, you might want to add a bit more flour. You just want it, I don't want to overhandle it because I want it to be nice and chilled as much as possible. So I don't want to over manage it with my hands. But that's how it looks. And I mean, I'm pressing in and I'm not getting anything off. It might feel a bit greasy to touch. And it's not too bad on that, to be honest, either. But it's nice, firm, and not too sticky. So if you're finding it is, just put a bit more flour with it until you have a ball like that. Excellent. We've got thumbs up?
No.
No thumb up. That's fine.
No, I think people are too sticky to press.
They're too
thumbs up.
sticky. They need a towel. Yeah. When you've got to that point, just for those that have, if you have the space in your fridge, you can always put it in the fridge for a moment whilst we prepare the sausage meat, just so we keep it quite cold. So I'm going to do that now, but I'm waiting for you guys, don't worry.
We're getting a load of thumbs up now, and Pat says hi.
Hi. Any questions?
No questions at the moment. No. I think everybody's like possibly trying to cover the thumbs up with all their floury hands. Yeah, so they're all coming through, so I think we're all at the same stage.
Brilliant. Right, I'm grabbing my other bowl.
Yep.
So once you've got your pastry, either to put to one side or if you can fit it in the fridge. I mean, I just put the whole bowl in because I had the space, but you could always put it in a little Ziploc bag or something. But I'm just chilling it whilst I can. But please don't worry, if you haven't got the space, it's not going to be there for that long. So I've got a pack of sausage meat, and we've got 400 grams, which is around, I would imagine, about 8 sausages, something like that. You could actually use more if you wanted to. If you happen to have more, you could make ginormous sausages. Sausage rolls even. Right, so I'm going to pop this into the bowl, like so. And then we want to season this. So this is where you lot can get creative. I've said, Max, that we could add some oregano, some salt and some pepper. But if you want to add other things, add whatever you like, but we would love to know what you're adding. Go on then, Max. You can do this bit. You alright?
Yep.
I like the smell of pepper.
Yeah, it's really nice, isn't it?
Got a lot of love coming our way.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
Like that.
People like sausage rolls, don't they?
Yeah, well, they're good for everything, aren't they? I mean, you can have them as a snack. I'm going to sound like Lad Baby, and I feel I should break out into a song or something now, because that's what he does, isn't it?
This city, we built this city on sausage rolls.
But it's, you can have, I do feel like I need to do a bit of a rap, because that's what they do. But you can eat them as a snack. I can't do it without thinking of their songs. But you can also put them in like chips and beans and have them as a dinner, can't you? So, and great for picnics too, as we get into this warmer weather.
Karen's put small chunks of apple in hers.
Oh, nice. What do you reckon? It's up to you, sweetheart. It depends how herby you want them. Yeah, so we've got 2 teaspoons of oregano going on there, and some, that smells beautiful, and then some pepper and some salt. But I'm loving hearing what everyone else is using. I do think haggis ones could be rather good.
Oh.
Yes.
I do.
I think haggis and black pudding.
Haggis and black pudding.
Oh, that'd be delicious.
Right, so I'm going to use a fork, and all I want you to do, Max, is just squish it all together so that it's nice and combined.
Sounds pretty easy.
Excellent.
Got lots of different flavours of pepper. We've got Linda doing some cayenne pepper going in.
Nice, yeah, that will work really nicely. Yeah, I do like it when you can take a recipe and because it's not scientific, it's not, unless you're putting something that's just too watery or something and that could affect the pastry. I like the fact you can put anything in it and just make it as you like it.
I wouldn't suggest putting eggnog.
Bill's put in paprika and Emily's just said, sorry, how much oregano in the and salt and pepper?
Max has put 2 teaspoons and just seasoned probably a few grinds of each on the salt and pepper. Just as you would if you imagine eating a meal and what you'd normally season with.
Sandy's putting haggis in hers tomorrow when she makes them.
Sounds
and
good.
Tom is making a veggie filling with mushrooms, onions and chestnuts.
Oh, yum.
That sounds lovely.
I do like chestnuts.
I do too. Oh, Barbara's going to mix some chorizo with the sausage meat.
You'd like that, wouldn't you? Do you want me to do
Love
some?
Well, no, she said, what about doing that?
Oh yeah, you could, absolutely. Absolutely. There we go. So we'll just, a bit of muscle, Max, that was all. So I'm just using the prongs just to break it up a bit and make sure all that salt, pepper and oregano is all the way through the meat. There we go. You're right there, Max.
How are you doing that?
Oh, you know what? It's from all the scone making me and Daddy have been doing. Muscles. Right. Okay. So I'm quite happy that's been combined. Right. I've got some tips now, but I can see that there's some questions. Or you're
There's not a
impressing my
question.
mum.
No. I'm just reading all the comments. Sorry, I was in a little world of my own.
No, it's fine.
Leslie's using some cranberry sauce up in hers.
Very nice.
Oh, this one sounds nice. Fiona said Cumberland sausage out of their skin with grated cheese.
Lovely. Right. So the sausage. There should be. What I'm going to do is we're going to roll out the pastry, and then there should be enough. Rather than doing long amounts of pastry, I'm going to do it in more of a rectangle and then split it down the middle, and there should be enough to do 2 rows. So I'm going to leave the sausage meat to one side and then come back to it when I'm ready to fill the pastry. So I'll put that over there for a minute.
Where's sausage meat?
Now, there's different ways you can do this with the sausage meat. You can put some flour down on your worktop, not sausage meat, I'm talking rubbish now, pastry. You can put some flour down and roll out your pastry on the worktop. I quite like to keep it minimal on the flour. Go on, you've been...
Daniel said she inspired the massive G&T. And Teeny's adding onion, garlic, paprika, Italian herbs, cayenne and feta.
Yum! Whoa! Yes, I do have a rather large, but it's actually quite a light G&T. It's more tonic water than anything else. It is.
I saw you pouring it.
So if you want to keep the flour down to a minimum, and also for ease of rolling, what I would suggest, hang on, I've got a rather big catering size one here, but if you get some parchment paper, you want about an A3 size and then doubled over. So what's that? A2. Yeah, A2. If you don't have that much or your baking paper's smaller, just you can do 2 sheets. But what I want to do, hang on.
Deb was saying, when do we use the mustard?
Not yet. Bear with me, I'm going to make loads of noise on the microphone now, I bet.
That's an A3 size, isn't it? Because you meant A4.
No, I didn't.
No,
I meant A3. So I've got, it's doubled over now, so I've got about A3, doubled over, A2 doubled over, so it looks like an A3 sheet. And what I want to do is I'm going to roll my pastry between the sheets, and then, so if I'm rolling on top, it's not going to stick to the worktop, it's not going to stick to my rolling pin.
So what happens if you don't have this parchment
So
paper?
if you don't have the parchment paper, stick with good old-fashioned flour on your worktop and roll it out. I like doing this particularly because we haven't chilled the pastry for very long, so if it's just a bit stickier, this avoids too much mess. And if you're going with kids, it's quite good. And also, because if you folded it over, you'll end up with a seam. It gives you a nice straight line on at least one side for your sausage rolls, but that's just a bit of an added bonus that I found. Right, I'm going to get the pastry back out, okay?
Any questions?
No, we're all concentrating.
Ooh.
Probably trying to find the parchment paper or the flour or I don't know.
There we go.
No, it's all very quiet here.
Right, so my pastry, I'm going to pop underneath. You don't have to do this, as I said, you can just flour your rolling pin, flour your worktop and do it like that. I just like this technique. So Max, I'm going to give this to you in a second, but I'm just going to roll underneath. I put it in the centre of my paper and I'll keep showing you underneath. But look, this is when it doesn't work, but look, ta-da! No sticking. Yeah, no sticking, and no sticking to this, and no tidying up your worktop afterwards. So you want your pastry to be quite thin. The first time I made them as well, I think the pastry was too thick. So if you remember, they're going to puff up. So you want your pastry to be kind of like pound coin type thickness. You can go a bit thicker than that, but just remember that it's going to increase in size.
Well, I've never seen this technique before.
Oh wow. There we go. So Max, do you want to have a go?
Yep.
Just remember to do a nice even weight. If you're doing this with kids, and I've noticed this, maybe some adults as well, if you put your weight on it, you'll find that as you roll it out, the bit further away that you're putting all your weight on goes thin, and the bit towards you is quite thick still. So the ways to avoid that, nice even weight distribution, yeah, and also turn it. And even if you've got a floured surface in front of you, turn the pastry, and then you know it's not sticking to the worktop, and you know you're getting a nice even roll. Okay, Max, I'm going to get this out of your way. There we go. Move that out of the way. Yeah. There we go. There we go.
Keeps moving about.
Brilliant. So your pastry, I would imagine, will be about 35 centimetres by about 24 centimetres, something like that. Kind of like a baking tray size. So if you turn it again, Max. That's it. Are we good? Have we gone quiet? Have we got comments coming through?
Yes, we've
That's
got
fine then.
How thick should it be? And if you had time, how long would you chill the pastry for?
So if I had longer, at this point, I would probably chill it for about 30 minutes. Yeah, you want it to be nice and firm. It's not too bad because you haven't overhandled it. So I'm quite happy with how it is. But I would then, once we've made it into sausage rolls, just pop them in the fridge just for 10 minutes or so, just to chill down before putting them in the oven.
And how thick should you roll it out?
How thick? I would say about a pound coin. You can go slightly thicker if you like your pastry, but make sure that it's nice and even, and yeah, not too thick, guys. How you doing, Max?
Good.
Shall we show them what it looks like underneath now?
Whoa.
So you can see it's quite good. And there's areas that are a bit sticky where we've got a little bit of butter, but because it's between the two, we're not getting it all over us. Go that way again?
Yep.
There we go.
And what size are we rolling this out to?
About a baking tray size. Obviously that depends on the size of your baking tray, but I would say about 35 to 24 centimetres, something like that. It'll cover quite a bit of this paper, but I appreciate that everything's relative if you're on camera as to the size of it. Do you want me to do some?
Yeah.
Yeah?
You whip it down to a palm size in like 2 seconds.
Well, I'm just putting on a bit more. The advantage of having a floured surface is you'll find that it moves quite easily. If it's not stuck to anything, you will find it moves nicely.
Rebecca's having a problem in her pastry. It's escaping the paper.
Naughty pastry. So I'm moving it, so I'm going more diagonal. I'm making sure it fills different areas. So I can see, I want a rectangular shape because at the end of it, I want it to be 2 lots, that I have 2 strips to roll my meat through. If you want it to be nice and rectangular, so if you've got a round shape, perfect if you were icing a round cake with pastry, but not for sausage rolls. So
Do you often ice cakes with pastry?
I think it's a new thing. I think.
Sausage roll cake.
Not.
Might be onto something. So if I show you, you can see I've got a nice straight line. That saves me a job over here. The other thing you can do is push your pastry. So I might fold that over, just so I keep a more rectangular shape.
Oh, Ruth's got a problem. Her pastry's crumbly. What shall she do?
If your pastry's crumbly, you could put it back together, combine it and add a little bit of moisture to it.
Moisture as in water?
Yeah, just a tiny bit of water. If these don't work first time, guys, please do try again with pastry. We don't do a lot of pastry, and then all of a sudden we've done eclairs, which is choux. We're doing a rough pastry, and then next week we're going to do a short crust pastry.
We did the baked tarts as well.
We did, yeah, we
sweet
did.
pastry.
We have got a good short crust pastry recipe on YouTube, but next week we're doing something slightly different. But I do like to change it up for you all. So this is looking pretty good. It's just a bit too thick at the moment. So I'm just going to make sure that I've got it a bit thinner, so I'm applying a bit more pressure to it.
How many sausage rolls are we making?
Well, yeah, there is quite a lot of pastry, but it's got to wrap over, hasn't it? So
Yeah. Doesn't peek out here.
It's starting to peek out there, is it?
Oh, I've got the same problem.
Big sheet of pastry. So really, we could just roll this up and sell it as our own brand now, couldn't we? Put it in a little box, and it's the Boozy Baker pastry.
Yeah, I've got the
Oh, somebody's given up on the paper because it moved around too much.
No problem. Do whatever works for you. I particularly like this if I've got a slightly sticky pastry, but go back to old traditional roots. It's no problem. So
Lily's saying, how thick again?
So about a pound coin, slightly thicker is fine. You don't want it too thick. I'll try and bring this up to show you, but it's all a bit relative, isn't it?
Whoa.
Well, again, the advantage of having it on paper. Can they see that?
Yes, they can.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So that's our pastry. Do you think I've got a sharp knife? I haven't got a chopping board. Shall we go and get one?
Yeah.
We've got one of our big analog on it. We'll do that. Thank you very much. And I can measure this as well because look, I've got a tape measure, so I can tell you what this is now.
How many things have you got?
I know, I've been quite prepared today. So yeah, it's about 35 on the kind of biggest bit, and it's actually a bit thicker than that. I've got it about 30 going widthways, but it's a bit curved, so I'm going to cut those bits off.
Lily's saying mine's slightly thinner. Is that a problem?
No, it would be fine. So I'm just going to even this out a bit.
Oh, that would make a
That's-
great cake topping.
Oh look, I did that without putting it on a chopping board. That was naughty, wasn't it?
Ooh.
There we go. I know, so bad. And I'm going to so I've got a bit more. I'm not too worried if I've got a few bits that I haven't quite cut, but I've just made that a bit more rectangular.
I'll just twist that and it's cake topping.
You can do it as a cake topping if you want. So that's now 25 by 33. So, right, I needed the one last thing. So I'm just going to put my chopping board underneath. Don't worry, you don't have to do this if you're just careful. But I'm going to cut, so the longer side, I'm going to cut in half. like so. And then I've got 2 lots of pastry to do 2 lots of sausage rolls. It just avoids having one long lot. That's good? Yep. Right. Now, back to the sausage meat. Hopefully you're all keeping up. So, I'm going to do about half the amount. Max, you're going to hate this because it's gooey. You going to do some? No? Okay.
Okay, fine.
You're going to do some, it is a bit gooey. You want to get your sausage meat and try and manipulate it into a long sausage shape. If you get over that bit, Max, it does come together a bit.
Leslie's saying, what size again is the pastry? I said, this isn't a science, is it?
No, it's not a science. It's just kind of whatever you end up with. But it's about 30 centimetres by 24, something like that. You can be a bit longer. But all we want to do is get the sausage meat now to be the same length as your pastry.
Oh, mustard.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
We've got a number of people going, mustard.
Oh, well done, you guys. Hang on, let me just wash my hands. Oh, you know what? That's why I put everything on a board in front of me so I don't forget. And I get carried away and then I forget something like a glaze or the mustard. So well done everyone who spotted my error. So I'm going to use some Dijon mustard and put a little bit on each of my pastries. You're okay, Max?
Does it need to be Dijon?
No, you can use English. I particularly like Dijon because I find it's quite a mildness that I like. I find English mustard a little bit more too much. But you could use whole grain as well. So all I'm doing is using the back of the spoon and just putting that all over my pastry, and I really like the taste that this gives. And if you've got children with you going, no, we won't like that because I don't like mustard, you didn't actually realise it was in there, did you? It just kind of gave it's a bit of a kick, and I just like the layer it gives.
It smells really nice with the pastry and sausage.
Yeah, it goes together, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So there we go. So just putting a bit more on there.
Right, you might need to do a thumbs up if people are doing the same.
Yeah. Thank you ever so much for reminding me though. Right, so I've split the sausage meat in half. Max has got some and I've got some. So we'll just split it in half, one for each of the pastries. So what I need to do is manipulate it so it's the length of the pastry.
And Julie said, could you use apple sauce instead of mustard?
Yeah, whatever you like. Make sure it's not too much moisture, not too wet, just so we don't affect the pastry. So I'm just rolling some this sausage out on the parchment paper. We're going down the side. Now, I've got to a point that I'm going to lay it on the pastry and just extend it out. So I'm thinning it down and making it longer. There we go, we're nearly there. Well done, Max. So we're just putting the sausage meat into the centre.
Oh, it's a big sausage roll.
It is. We can have a foot-long sausage roll each. What do you reckon, Max?
I love that.
Yeah.
Daniel's floured the surface to roll out the sausage.
That's fine.
Much easier, he reckons.
No problem at all.
So there's a tip from Daniel.
Yeah, I suppose anything that you're coating in a bit of flour is going to act a bit nicer than trying to do it like this.
Mm-hmm.
Can I share?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Take an end each.
Take an end each. There we go. Right.
Nobody's lost their tea towel today.
No one's lost their tea towel. That's awesome. Right. Okay. With your last egg, we're going to want to put a little bit of egg down one side of each pastry so that when we roll it, it glues together. Now someone said for savoury, you could use just the egg yolk, and if it's sweet, you use the whole egg. So, and now I've just got my additional egg yolk. I'm just going to mix it up with my pastry brush, and I'm just going to go down each side. If you can't see, I've cut down the centre of the pastry, but we're going to just put a bit of egg, Max, down each side. There we go. Painted it on, and then well, because of if you've got flour, you'll find that you can just lift that a bit easier. There we go. If you've got a floured surface, you shouldn't need to do that, obviously. I'm going to just roll it so that one side of the pastry is now sticking to the other side with the egg on it.
I've got a random question from Lily.
Yeah,
Do
go for
you
it.
know whether there is such a thing as a sweet sausage roll?
You know what? I would imagine there is, because there's no reason why you couldn't do that. You could add some sugar to your pastry and do a filling with a sweetened filling, but just think about what you're putting in, because obviously you don't want it to be, you need to cook it, so you don't want anything that's going to leak out. So chocolate is going to distort. So you'd have to think about what you're putting into the centre.
There's fig rolls, isn't there? That's
Yeah.
a different pastry though, isn't it?
There we go. Actually, Max, we rolled it the other way and we need some glue. So it's all right. We'll just go that way now.
Just to let you know, Michelle is not using glue.
No, I'm using egg yolk.
Just in case you're all getting your super glue out.
No, sorry. Max had rolled it left to right, so the egg yolk went on the sausage rather than on the pastry. So I've just put some more egg yolk down, so it's pastry stuck to pastry. Right, so we've now got 2 long legs.
Yay! Can't wait to eat these.
Max would like to put them in just like this. Now, do mark the tops of your pastries to let the hot air out. So I like to do nice diagonal slants about 1 inch apart.
It also makes them look good.
It does make them look good. So over each one, across the top, and just cut into your sausage rolls with a sharp knife.
Right, just got a bit of people asking for a quick recap. Leslie said, did you use the egg yolk for the egg wash?
So I'm just about to do that. So we used it just to glue down the sides, and then I'm using the rest of the egg yolk just to brush on top of the sausage rolls now. You don't have to do massive sausage rolls like this. I am going to cut them up. I'm just going to have to negotiate with Max what size we're doing. So we've now got 2 long sausage rolls. So the sausage meat is now wrapped in the pastry. And that will just give a nice glaze. So when it bakes, you'll get a nice golden glossy finish to it. Make sure, the advantage of doing this before you place them on the baking tray is you don't want the egg to stick. So you don't want it dripping down off the sausage roll onto the baking tray, because it will hinder the puff pastry puffing up. Right, so Max, we're going to have to decide what size we're doing these. This is up to you guys. If you don't want this much sausage roll, you could freeze them at this stage. I think we could get 6 out of it. What do you think?
I thought 2.
You wanted 2? Well, that's a lad baby size sausage roll, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think we're going to want, we could do 4, but there's 5 in the house. So I'm thinking if we do 6, you get an extra one.
Oh, yay!
Right, okay, we negotiated that well. So I'm just going to split these up.
I don't think we built this city on 2 sausage rolls anyway.
No.
It was
So-
probably around 6. Or
Do you reckon? Right. So let's just move that over. On your baking tray. As I said, if you want to bake these now, you can. You need to put them in a preheated oven, which would be 200 degrees Celsius, 180 fan or gas mark 6. But if you can, and you've got the space, I would put them in the fridge for just 20 minutes, just to get them firmed up, and then put them in. So I'm just going to, actually I'm going to put them this way, I think. Yes, I am.
Yum.
To make sure you give a bit of space between them. I'm not so worried about them end to end, because the puff pastry isn't there, the sausage is, but they're going to go wider and up. So make sure you've got some space around them. You could always stagger them, I suppose, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Like that. There we go. If you need 2 baking trays, do these are a little bit longer. Max, have we got a kitchen towel again, please? Thank you, sweetheart. So hopefully you have got something that looks a little bit like that in front of you. Fingers crossed.
If you could lift it, because
Yes, of course.
it's where all the writing is. Yes, that's lovely.
There you go.
Yes.
So we've got some nice egg-washed sausage rolls. We've gone for 6. You can make them as you like, but they're a good size to me.
They're pretty big.
They are quite big. I did say that it would make 8 smaller ones or 4 larger ones.
I think it would make 12 smaller ones.
Yeah, I think it might as well, actually.
Yeah.
I suppose we're a bit... Mum's quite dainty, whereas I'm like, yeah, foot-long sausage roll sounds really good. Yeah, I would chill those if you can for about 20 minutes, just so that your pastry is nice and cold. But if you can't wait, and if the kids are like, but Mum, I want some sausage rolls, I know you are, then preheat your oven to 200, 180 for fan or gas mark 6, and then you want to bake these for about 45 minutes. I'm sorry kids, you're going to have to grab a bag of crisps or something. It's 45 minutes, I know, and then they will puff up. They will be golden. Because of the length of time, you know that your sausage meat is going to be cooked inside. So that should give you ample time that they're baked. Obviously, if they start to smell after about 35 minutes, if you kind of think, oh, you know what, my pastry's going over, either turn the temperature down or have a look, and the meat should be cooked. It's just be your pastry. But 45 minutes should be about right.
Yes.
So that is it. I would love you to share with me your photos. I will put up a link thanking you all for joining us, and you can put your photos under that, so that will be on our Facebook page. We do offer these for free, that's absolutely fine, but if you would like to say thank you by way of a virtual drink, we have a page at www.buymeacoffee.com/boozybakers. I'll put the link up, but it's not compulsory. These are free public events, but if you would like to say thank you, you can donate on there, and that just helps us to buy new equipment and bowls and ingredients for trying these out. So yeah, that's it guys, we're back for apple pie next week. I'm going to put on how to make a nice homemade custard. That will go straight to YouTube. So if you want to make a nice homemade custard with your apple pie, the link will be on our apple pie events, and you can go to that, make your custard, and then your apple pie. You can have it with that, which would be lovely.
Yep.
Do go and have a look at our YouTube channel. We have loads on there: cinnamon buns, Belgian buns, lasagna, 3-bean chili, macarons, all sorts, jaffa cakes. And also we have a shop on www.boozybakers.co.uk. I've just put on a new baking kit onto there, so if you haven't spied that yet, go head over. You can buy nice treats that we send out across the UK, baking kits, aprons, lots of aprons, and our recipe books. There's a link to those online as well. So that's us done, isn't it? I think you're looking forward to these.
I can't wait.
So thank you for joining us guys, and we'll see you again next week. Say bye. Bye.